Okay, so a couple of, what was it, a couple weeks ago, we had a big old scare with Munchie here with him getting some trachea caught around his tongue. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, you know those things that are like 1 in a million? Well, Munchie had a 1 in a million moment. He got a small sliver of a trachea, and it was probably about this wide, and somehow got it over the tip of his that wide tongue, and then slid it all the way to the back of his throat. Now, we didn't know that's what had happened, but the intern said, "Oh, Munchie's make you kind of frothing at the mouth. I don't know what's wrong with him, but we're kind of worried because he's frothing at the mouth." And I said, "Is he breathing okay?" And they said yes. And I said, "Okay, let's keep on doing our work. I'll go check on him in a little bit." So a little bit later, like a half hour later, I went down and checked on Munchie, and I said, "Uh-oh, he didn't bite a toad," which I thought he bit a toad or did something like that. So I started watching him and then I'm like, whoa, where'd you go, Munch?
He passed out.
I said, wait a minute, there is something wrong here that's a little bit bigger than him biting a toad. So we called Bill. Well, the first question is do we call Bill? Because sedating a big cat is a real scary thing. Anesthesia, some cats are real sensitive to anesthesia. I have had cats die due to anesthesia, actually 3 over the last 30 years. So that was mostly all 20, 30 years ago when we first started and didn't really have all of the, when people weren't so knowledgeable about medications for sedating big cats, and there weren't specific medications for big cats. So anyway, but still, it's very scary. We don't like to sedate for any reason. The other problem is oh yeah, there's something wrong with Munchie, but you can't go in there like you could your dog and pull his mouth open and look down his throat. You have to sit back and you have to watch and you have to video, and then you have to zoom in on your videos hoping to catch that magic shot, which we kept on seeing this shot of something in the back of his throat. So here's the scary part about having something in the back of his throat. A lot of times when cats are sedated, they vomit. So we don't feed them before they go into any kind of procedure that they would be sedated. Just like people, you're not supposed to eat before you have surgery. Same thing here. Well, he ate the night before, and he still had food in his enclosure, so he's full of food. He has food stuck in his throat. We didn't know wrapped around the tongue at the time. He has food stuck in the back of his throat. If he's sedated and he has something halfway down his throat, will he fall asleep and then it blocks off his airway completely? Or does he try to vomit and then block off the airway completely? So we were really in a rough situation. So after multiple hours of watching, contemplating, called Bill. Bill said he'd be out. He came out, and Bill and I went back and forth with the same questions that I was just giving you. We can't go in there. We can't open his mouth. Some cats are easy enough, like Bonnie. She did this a couple times. She would get meat stuck on her bottom canine, and I could get some forceps and stick them through the fence and pull them out. And sometimes you have an animal like that, but Munchie's not that kind of animal. He's not going to be somebody I could just grab it and pull it out. So Bill said, okay, we're going to sedate him. And I was like this the whole time. Nervous wreck, scared to death, thinking, am I crazy enough to run in there and try to pull that out of his throat if he starts gagging on it? What do? Do you just sit back and watch him die? There are really horrible thoughts go through your mind whenever you're talking about sedating a cat. So it ended up going off without a hitch. Bill sedated him really hard and heavy, so he went down very, very fast. And then that way, if he did vomit, he would be asleep enough that we could probably clear his airway. But that was when we found the trachea around his tongue. And some people said, "Oh, are you going to still feed animals that have tracheas?" I'm like, yes. I mean, because that was the most insanely crazy. To me right now, it still seems impossible. Like, if somebody told me that happened, I would say it's impossible. It can't happen. but with Munchie,
Our special guy found a way.
with our sweet Munchie, where there's a will, there's a way.
There's
so
a way.
yeah, that was what happened. So
Well, very, very scary.
very, very, very ugly time. Very terrifying time. Sedation is my biggest fear with our big guys. So, letting you know a little bit about that whole sedation process. It sucks.
Yeah.
Anyway, Care family, have a wonderful day, and let me know if you have any questions. I think Jamie and I are going to do something where she'll write it down somewhere. She'll get you the info. I just talk on the camera. But
And you do such a good job.
that's funny. It's like 100 degrees right now, so I'm sweating in the sun because I had the great shot with Munchie.
Who went to sleep.
He went to sleep, and you got a good shot at his belly.
Yep. It's a cute belly.
Yep.
All right.
All right, bye
Thanks,
everyone.
Heidi.